Good morning, crafty peeps. We are going to get started on another Craftology box tutorial using our Snow Fun by Stephen Duncan. And I absolutely love this paper collection. It is so stinking cute. Very vintage, lots of fun colors, very just beautiful all around. I mean, come on now. I've already gotten into this, so I'm going to get into what we're going to make in just a second. But I got the extended kit, the 6x6 paper pad, and I also purchased the ephemera kit because you get 33 pieces of ephemera, and that's a lot. So, and also I still have some of my laces left over and my velvet ribbon, some flowers, and I actually have some more red flowers left over too. But I am going to be making several more things, so just get prepared. I know that I will be doing a couple Craftology box tutorials for our November online crop, so can't wait to get started on those. But we're going to do this one first, and I think it'll be a little bit fun. So I was telling Tamara that I wanted to make a little mini album, and she had mentioned to me that a few people were wondering about how to make the toilet paper minis. So I kind of came up with a tutorial where it's really a toilet paper roll less mini. So your toilet paper rolls, if you're squeamish, kind of like I am, I mean, I sell these, so I try not to actually use the toilet paper rolls just for that reason, because I'm selling them to people, and I don't know, some people may be squeamish. So I'm going to show you how we're going to do that today. So we're going to get out our scoreboard. You're going to need your score tape or your art glitter glue or whatever you want to use for your adhesive. Most of the time I use my art glitter glue now because I love this stuff. So, but if you watch my videos, you know that already. So I'm going to show you two main page designs right now. This is the first one, which I called the flap over, and then you have your little string or whatever ribbon you want to use, seam binding ribbon, and then of course the base page for the toilet paper roll, and then here I have a little pocket on this side. Okay, so I'll put that to the side real quick. So let's get started with our base. So for your base, you are going to need some plain cardstock, and the measurements for this are 5 7/8 by 4 inches. That is exactly the size that you're going to need for a toilet paper roll. Okay, so 5 7/8 by 4 inches. You're going to score it on the 5 7/8 inch side at 2 3/4 and then at 5 1/2. Sorry, I have that glue stuck on there. Goodness, and I've got it on here. Where the heck did that come from? Okay, let me get out my regular bone folder. So then you're going to go ahead and fold on your mountain high. Okay, and then you're going to apply your adhesive and then seal it and burnish it in. So then you will come out with something that looks like this. Okay, so your perfect little thing. You don't have to run it through your die cut machine to get it flat or anything. So this is perfect. And sometimes on the toilet paper roll minis, I don't know if you ever noticed that when you're flattening them, sometimes they start lifting, which is what I have right there. Okay, so our second page, which is going to be this one, where you have your trifold. Okay, and then you'll have a little side pocket. That is going to be 8 1/4 inches by 4 inches. Okay, and then you're going to score at 2 3/4 and 5 1/2, and then that creates your trifold. If you want to round your corners, you can. Okay, and actually I have it set where this side is actually 1/8 inch shorter than these two, so that when you fold it over, it closes nicely. Okay, then for the bottom piece that's going to connect to that, it is going to be 3 3/4 inches scored on 1/2 inch and 3 1/4, and then by 4 inches long. Okay, then again you're going to fold on your mountain high. Then you're going to take your adhesive and place it there and there, and then you're going to lay this right on top and then burnish it in. Okay, so that will give you this. Okay, of course I have mine going sideways, so this is actually going to be a horizontal toilet paper roll mini. Okay. Okay, so let's get started. So we're going to have our base page just like this, and I went ahead and inked mine around the edges with Tim Holtz Distress Ink Linen, but you can use any color you want. So basically you are going to have your paper be 4 inches wide, and I have some left over from earlier, and then I'm going to score down at 2 1/4 inches, right? And then we're going to 1, 2, 3, 4, score it again at 2 3/4, and then cut. Now I know it drives you crazy that I have to score. Then I can put that to the side because I might use that extra piece of paper for a tag or something. Then I'm going to fold over on the mountain high, and I like my corners rounded, so I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Okay, ink my edges. And if my inking the edges is boring to you, I would fast forward through this. Okay, so I'm going to get out my next piece of paper. Which is my decorative paper. And I'm going to, I wanted to match this one, so I'm going to pick something dark. I'm going to go ahead and do the snowflakes. I would go ahead and cut off this little hole there. You don't need that. Toss it to the side. So if this was, I always like to do a 1/8 inch border. So if it was 2 1/4, I'm going to cut this one at 4 inches. Oh no, I'm sorry. 3 7/8 by 2 1/8. Okay. I can't really see my, I have to guesstimate. Here we go. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut. I'm actually going to go ahead and cut all the way down at the 3 7/8 inch because I know that my base piece is also going to be from this too. Let me cut off my little extra hump piece there from scoring. That's the only issue with scoring. And then I'm going to, my base page is, there it is, 2 3/4. So again, I'm going to go at 2 5/8. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and save that piece, and I'm going to put it to the side because I will probably use that at some point. So I'm going to go ahead and attach this piece first. So you can either use your score tape at this point or your, hold on, I can see a little edge edge there that I did not cut off. I apologize. But since I'm anal retentive, I'm going to go ahead and fix that. Re-ink it real quick. Then I'm just going to miter my edge a tiny little sliver. See that? Just a real tiny sliver. And get my adhesive. Burnish it in. Put that little pen top over. Then I'm going to go ahead and put my base decorative page down, but I'm going to ink that real quick. I'm going to line it up first, make sure it looks right. And it looks perfect. Oops, actually, I lied. Hold on. Before I do that, I want to get my string ready. My measurements for the center are going to be 2 inches, okay? So I'm going to make a little mark with my pencil. I'm going to make sure that's a pencil. Okay. So I'm going to make a little mark at 2 inches for the top and 2 inches for the bottom. And I'm going to go ahead and use some of this Scotch tape. You don't need very much, just a tiny bit. Just to get it on there, I'm going to apply some adhesive. Oops. It does not want to work with me today, is it? Okay. I'm going to apply a little bit more because I want to make sure that it stays in there. If you just apply the tape, you could pull it out right from under the tape. So that's why you definitely need that. But this will keep it in place. That's mainly what I use the tape for, is to keep it in place while it's drying. And I'm going to do the same thing at the top here. Let me wipe off my extra glue that I've got going on here. And it's okay if you make it a little bit long right now at this point. You won't know exactly how much you're going to use until you close it up. And then you can just cut off your extra. Again, apply a little more adhesive. And then add your tape. Do not put your tape down all the way at the bottom, because if you do, you are going to, it will show through here at that edge. So, and I'm going to take my bone folder and I'm going to burnish it. And I know this sounds crazy, but it really isn't. I'm going to try to flatten this string out some more. So I'm going to press down kind of hard. And that's another reason why I use the tape, is because tape won't rip like normal paper. And again, I'm going to burnish it again to flatten it. Okay? All the way down. And this way, your paper will set on there much nicer. I'm going to add just a little bit more glue and let it set there for the moment. Now, I can add my strips of paper. But before I do that, I haven't burnished, I haven't inked the edge of this, nor have I rounded it. So I'm going to do that real quick. sure to get it all on the corners, all the way around, and definitely want to get it in the center there. So I'm just applying the glue, literally. Okay, and then I'm going to center it on my paper. Now you have a couple seconds to move it into place and fudge with it where it's perfect. And then you're going to want to burnish it in. Sorry about that. I'm just trying to make some room on my desk here. I've got too much going on. And I know I already dyed these edges today, but it just wasn't vintage looking enough for me. So again, I'm going to go ahead and apply my glue. Now if you want to use magnets, of course you're going to adhere your magnets before you put down your paper and get those all lined up. But since this is such a tiny mini, I didn't really want to use magnets a lot in this album. So, in fact, I probably won't use any at all. And then burnish that in. And then I haven't decided what size I'm going to use again. This, what's that, 2 1/4? This is actually the perfect size, and I had no idea. So I will go ahead and cut at 2 1/4 by 3 7/8. I gotta mark it on this side because I will never see it on that side. Okay. Again, I'm going to do my edges. Those are rounded now. To apply my adhesive. And then blend it, mash it in there. Clean up any glue that's coming out. Okay. So now it's going to tie like this. But before I really tie it, I'm going to let that thoroughly dry. But I just wanted to show you that it does tie up right there. And then I can start working on my next page. So, okay, so for the page 2, we're going to go ahead and have a pocket. The pocket is at 1.5 inches. That's what you're going to cut. Okay. By 5. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Got to cut the other part. So 1.5 by 5. I'm going to get out my scoreboard. I'm going to score it on the 1.5 inch side at 1/2 inch. And then I'm going to turn and score it at 1/2 inch again, and then at 4.5. Okay. And then I'm going to miter my edges a little bit right there at the corner. Okay. Then I'm going to fold it up on the mountain high side. Okay. Now, if you want to, what I usually do is, just so that that part doesn't see, I miter this just a slight bit at that top too, but not too much, because I still want it to go really well, you know, be sealed really well or glued down so that, you know, it doesn't lift or anything. Okay. So now I'm going to pick out my next design of paper. So we kind of got this going on so far. And I'm going to go with probably, I really like these snow globes. Okay. So on the back side, I know that I need this to be 7/8 of an inch by 3 7/8. So I'm going to go ahead and cut 7/8. 7/8. And then at 3 7/8. Okay. And then I'm going to do my base page, which I want it to be the snow globe side. So I know that needs to be at 2 5/8. By 3 7/8. And then again, I'm going to put these little extras to the side. Go ahead and distress my papers, and then I will adhere these down. Okay, so for my pocket, oops, I forgot to distress this one. I'm going to go ahead and use my adhesive. Finish it in there. And then I want to line this up perfectly where it fits just right. And this looks perfect actually, so that is awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and flip it over, holding it into place, and apply my glue. And then I'm going to go ahead and apply my glue around my edges. And then just line it up. And burnish it in. And clean up any excess glue that is hanging out. Make sure you burnish in really good there so you don't have any lifting at all. And so now you have your nice little pocket there. Now that this is dried up, I can go ahead and tie my little string. And for me, some odd reason, my bows always look better when they're upside down. Don't ask me why. And then I can go ahead and trim off. Well, you know what? I lied. They don't look better. Let me try that one more time. I need to get it tighter up here. I can go ahead and snip off all that extra string and then toss that. And there you go. That is page 1. Then I'm going to work with you on page 2, and then I will have a third page. But after that, they're all going to be the same. So basically you'll have 3 different pages and 6 pages all together. So I will be right back. Okay, so we know that our pages are 2 3/4 long by 4 inches wide. So we know now that this one has to be 2 5/8. Okay. By 3 7/8. And I'm going to go ahead and put this one on now because I don't want to get the two confused. They are, the other one is going to be just a tad bit smaller because remember we had to make the other side shorter. So, taking enough off. There we go. So now I'm going to go ahead and ink my edges. And then on this side, I'm going to do it, I said 2 5/8. So now instead of 2 5/8, it is going to be at 2 1/2. Let me just make sure. Yep. Well, let's cut it at 2 5/8. I know, and we're only going to take off a tiny little sliver. And see where I moved it right here? That's less than 1/8 of an inch. And then again at 3 7/8. And let you line that up. And that looks pretty good. On my edges. Must not be measuring that 7/8 right, because you can't really see it on here, so because it's blocked from when they cut it off, so sorry about that. Round that off again. I guess I'll go ahead and start scoring it on the scoreboard because I don't like having to do that twice. Especially, I don't like gluing things twice. It's a waste of product. So, it's looking so cute. So basically you're going to make your other side the same measurements as this one, and then I will be right back because I haven't decided on which piece of paper, and I got a message I got to answer real quick. So I'll be right back. Okay, I am back. So we have finished covering page 3 now. Okay, so I will say that, remember how in this part I said to take off that little extra piece? I would not do that, only because I had this little crack here. I don't know if I had it too close up to here, but anyway, I'm sure you could even it out, but I would rather you just not cut that extra little sliver off. And I will make sure that I noted that before you'll actually see this video, so I'm just kind of repeating myself. Anyway. So I'm getting out another piece of paper because we're going to start on page 4, and I'm going to make my little pocket page right here. So this page, this pocket is actually 1 3/4. So I'm going to go ahead and get out my cutter. And I know that it actually needs to be at 2 1/4. Let me make sure I did that right. Hold on. I'm going to take off a 1/2 inch. And then I need to be at, that's 1, yeah, 2, it's going to be at 2 1/2. No, 2 5/8. That should be 1 3/4 if I measured that right. Let me just double check my math. Hold on. Nope, I was wrong. It's going to be at 2 1/4. That's okay. I didn't mess it up too bad. So that's why I always say watch my videos first before you play. So I will repeat that measurement again. It's going to be scored a 1/2 inch, and then it will be at 2 1/4 inch. Then I'm going to turn it horizontally. I'm going to score it at a 1/2 inch. And then I know that this is 2 3/4. So I'm going to score it at 3 1/4. And 3 3/4. So 1/2 inch, 3 1/4, and 3 3/4. And just to make sure that's right, I'm going to double check, but I'm pretty sure. Let me miter my edges and just my little sliver here and my little sliver there. Oops. Perfect. Okay, so I had another little piece that I actually had the measurements on and I lost it, so I apologize for that. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and I have a little extra piece and I kind of thought, okay, how does this go? Yeah. I thought that this really, you know, pretty much matches with this. You could use this again, but the pattern I'm going to use underneath is this, and I really think that that looks better together. That's just personally me. So I'm going to go ahead, and we said it was at 1 3/4, right? So we're going to do it at 1 5/8. And I believe I have my width correct, but I'm going to give that to you. It is at 2 5/8. So 1 5/8 by 2 5/8. Let's just make sure that's right. And it is. Let me go ahead and distress these. Like I said, you can fast forward through this part. Okay. Get my glue out. Sorry, I don't like getting glue on my scoreboard. And I used to do that all the time until I got this mat from Tamara. And it has been a lifesaver because now I can just easily wipe this mat clean. Okay, I'm going to actually bring it up just a bit. And now I can press down. Okay. Now we know that our base page is always the same for the decorative. So if it's at 2 3/4, it's going to be at 3 7/8 by 2 5/8. So go ahead and do my 2 and wait. No. I almost did it wrong. Yep, 2 and 5/8. I mean, I gave you the right measurements. I just almost did it wrong on my own. I'm going to take off a tiny sliver because I can see my little indentation there. And we know I hate that. And I'm going to go ahead and score this here because for some odd reason I always get it off since I can't see the line. On my whiskers, I really need to get a better cutter. And I cannot wait to get the doll. But that is on my Christmas list. Go ahead and ink my edges. Make sure I've got it set right so it's not upside down. And you know what? I still did how the heck did I do that? 2 3/4. That's crazy. Okay. It's right. Just doesn't look it. That is really weird. Okay. I am going to go ahead and take off a tiny more bit of a sliver there. Just doesn't feel even to me. I think I need to get a new cutter. I really do. I don't know if I can wait till Christmas. Okay, so then I'm going to go ahead and put it on here evenly. You have 2 options. You can, which I've done this many a time, where I'll go ahead and glue this on first. And this works on for tiny little pockets, not for every little pocket. I'm going to just say that, okay? Wipe off your excess glue. Burnish it in. Make sure that it's not stuck on here. That's for sure. Yeah, it needs to be burnished in some more. I can see some lifting. If you try to lift it up before it's dry or burnished in, it does that sometimes. And it's still, maybe I need a little more glue. There we go. That should take care of that. Make sure this side is not lifting. Add a little more glue. And hold it down. Now, I made mine just, thin enough where you can slide it in there. If it's going to do that, it may decide that it doesn't want to do that today. But there we go. That's perfect. But I'm going to turn it this way. To me, I don't know. This way just looks, but no, it's actually supposed to be this way. That's how it looks on the paper. So, oh well. I guess this is how they want it. So I'll pick that. Or you could also do the solid red, which is really nice too. Just make sure it's lined up before you mash it all down. And then I'm going to burnish it in. I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more glue. because it's really humid here today, and so my glue's not doing what I want it to do today. And I'm going to make it do what I want it to do. I'm going to get these little lovely clips that my friend gifted me. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Lee, for doing that. And then I'll set that aside and let that dry. So now we basically have 2 different style pages done. We have 2 more to do. Or no, yeah, we have 2 more pages to do. I apologize. And I'm going to get that set up for you in just a second. I'm going to go ahead and I've already, I didn't do the other side, you see? I have to keep up with myself. I'm going to distress ink both my sides. And I know that my paper is 3 7/8 by, we said 2 3/4, but it's going to be at 2 5/8 by 3 7/8. That's my base page. I mean my base decorative page. I'm going to go ahead and ink those. I apologize. I'm a messy crafter, okay? I'm not going to lie to you on that one. I'm messy, messy, messy. Okay. Then I want to have a belly band. So I'm going to give you the measurements for the belly band, and I went ahead and already did my cover for this. So this is going to be 5 inches by 1 1/8 scored at a 1/2 inch and a 1/2, I'm sorry, at a 1/2 inch and 4 1/2. I'm sorry, I'm delirious. Okay, so then I'm going to center it on here. And then I'm going to make sure I really have it centered right. I'm going to glue it on the back. And then I'm going to go ahead and attach it to my base page. Oops, and mash that in. And now I have a super cute. Okay, so my video blinked out. We're now on page 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. So before it blinked out, you'll just have to trust me on the measurements. It's at 2 3/4 by 7 3/8. And so you're going to score it at the 3-inch line and the 7-inch line, and then you're going to fold it over and then glue it on the inside of the pocket here. And then, of course, when you're gluing and you're mashing down, make sure you flip it over and make sure that the glue didn't seep out, or whatever you're going to use, tape, and just make sure it didn't tape down. So then this leaves you a tiny little bit of an edge so that when you're placing it and turning the pages, it's not going to mess up on you. So you're going to need a magnet for this. And where my little magnets go? I'm going to go ahead and attach one of my magnets now. You don't have to do this part. I just do this because I'm impatient for it to dry. And I want to be able to have my other magnet on there right away. So, sorry. Okay. And I'm going to add my glue here. And I know where my glue line is. I can remove the magnet and place it right on the spot where it belongs. I'm actually going to use a little bit of a thinner tape this time because I'm closer. I feel like I'm closer to the edge. I don't know. I feel weird about that. So I'm going to get out my paper and the last pattern that I had going on was this one. So I'm going to continue on with that pattern and I'm going to cut it at 2 7/8. Let me do this one first. 2 5/8. Said by 2 7/8. So I'm actually going to need 2 of those. So I'll just cut off my little edge here. Lines up. One's a tad bit shorter than the other. How did I miss that? Okay. Go ahead and eat my edges. And I'm doing the inside only right now. You don't want to do the outside just yet because you're going to need to add a string in the center. Cute so far. Okay, so if it's 2 3/4, and this is how I kind of do this. I just grab a scrap piece of paper, just like this one. That one not 2 3/4. Good grief. Let's see, 2 3/4. Well, we said no. 2 and 7 2 3/4. I know you're wondering, what the heck are you doing, Kim? I'm trying to find my center without having to do all the math. And so that just makes it a lot easier to do it like this. So I just cut off a little strip that's exactly this size. I fold it in half, and there's my center line. Makes it a lot easier. I line it up, and I take it back quite a bit. I get out my pencil, and I make my mark, okay? And then I always use pencil because I can erase that easily. And I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to plug my glue gun in real quick because I want to make sure that this is going to stay. Or you can use the glue and tape method. That's my other method that I like to use. I'm going to get out my string. And like I said, I always make it a little bit long at first, and then I just trim off the excess later. I'm going to mash down some of the edge here, flatten it out, and I'm going to do a strip of glue. I'm going to add a little more glue on top, and I'm going to put it back. Don't put it all the way up to the edge, because if you do, then you're going to see the tape coming through. Then you're going to squish it down and get that excess glue out of the way. And do the exact same thing on this side. And actually, I'm going to have to mash it down because I forgot to do that. Yikes. And this better be recording this time, and it is. Thank goodness. Okay. Whew. I don't want to have to redo this again. And again, bring that tape more towards the back. And now I'm going to mash it down and even all the way out to here. I hope that helps. I'm going to do the same thing with this one. I'm going to add just a teeny bit more. Yeah, I've got enough glue. Good. It made it. And I know I've got like a hot mess going on here. I apologize for that. Now I can put my top piece of paper on. But before I do that, I need to go ahead and remember to distress my edges. And you know what I totally forgot to do? I forgot to distress all my edges. Oh my goodness. I'm a hot mess today, huh? Apparently I did not have enough medication today. Oops. Gotta be careful with those magnets. They do stick. Okay. Somehow I need to take off a little smidge. So I'm going to do that now. Take off a tiny little hairline, not even 1/8 inch. I feel like my cutter is cutting crooked because the wire is bent. So that is not good news. Okay, sorry. Make sure you have it facing in the right direction and burnish it in. wipe off any oozing glue so it doesn't get all over my score pal. So now I have that, and then I'm going to add my paper here, here, and here. Let's see, what are we going to use now? I think I will stick with my angels if I have enough paper. Apologize for my giant mess over here. Okay. This is too tiny. I always try to go through my scraps first to see what I can find. That's too short. That looks pretty cute. I could just do this one, but I'm kind of liking that. I'll go through here and see which one I haven't used yet. Got the houses. I apologize for the indecision, but I'm going to go ahead and go with this one. So we need it at 2 7/8. No, I'm sorry, not 2 7/8. 2 5/8. No, yeah. 2 and oh my goodness, I cannot make up my mind. 2 5/8 by, we're going to say 3 7/8, although I know it's going to be a little bit too long because I'm going to show you in just a second. You will actually need 2 of those. Here we go. Okay. Now, when I line this up, I believe it's going to be a hair bit too long, but it is just a smidge. Such a smidge. Okay. And that's only because I didn't score it exactly correctly on the line. So, I'm going to go ahead and use my edges on both my pieces. And you will need one more at that, no. 1, 2. Yes, one more at that same measurement to fit here. And that one I may not even have to cut. We'll see in just a minute. Make sure to have extra glue here. On this edge where my ribbon is coming out, you want to make sure that is glued down pretty good. And where your magnet is at. Okay. I'm going to go on that inside page. I'm going to do the same thing. Make sure it's not too long. It's just a smidge too long again. Press down. Burnish it in. You have to be really careful when you have your magnet too close to the edge, especially on small little projects like this. I am out of the the basic grade magnets, and so I apologize, but this normally wouldn't be that thick if I had that. So we just need one more to do, and then we'll be done with this page. And I will be back in a minute because somebody was calling me. Okay, so before I glue on my final piece, I wanted to go ahead and give you the measurements, although you probably know it already. It is 3 7/8 by 2 5/8. I went ahead and inked my edges. I'm going to add my glue. And add it onto my paper. And burnish in my edges. And so we have our cute little page here. So we have our belly band and then this. And let me go ahead and I'm going to make this a little bit tighter and cut it off. So while I'm doing that, I will just let y'all finish up what y'all are doing, and I will come back with the cover and the binding. So I'll be back in a minute.